Cairo Sam, what's going on? I came across your video on the whole marriage thing and the myth or fact about foreign women being better for marriage. And I just wanted to share my thoughts in regards to American women. Um, in terms of them being marriage material, I think some are, but it's conditional. Same thing with the men. Um, the woman has to have grown up in a two-parent household that was productive. Like, she comes from a happy, productive two-parent household. I say this simply because she sees how it works, right? Most of the time, modern Americans, we don't see how the whole marriage and family thing works when it's working at its best. We see it when it's, falling apart or it's not there, but we don't see the power that it has when it's in full force. Um, my parents are divorced, but there was a time where it was good. So I can remember back when, and see how strong it can be. Really, there's no replacement for it. You can work hard, you can have fancy cars, you can live in big houses, but there is no substitute for the strong family, the strong, productive family. So for me, when I judge a woman, I'm not necessarily even judging her on race. I'm more interested in how she grew up. Was her mother there? Was her father there? And does she have a close relationship with her family? Right? I'm not saying that a woman just has to grow up with two parents there, and then she's marriage material, because she could still be in a dysfunctional two-parent family. But if a woman grows up in a family that's productive, it counteracts what modern society wants women to be. Right? This Sex in the City, extremely liberal, extremely selfish type of individual. And the same can go for the men too. A lot of men haven't grown up in a family system that was productive. So they're not going to know what to do. All we are creatures of imitation. We imitate what we see. The way we dress, the way we talk, all that stuff. We're just imitating somebody else. So if she has nothing to imitate, right, society's going to tell her what to do. So that's just my thought on the whole marriage thing. And then in terms of foreign women, I think they're a better fit because of the the economic structure that which they come from, right? A lot of these women are coming from third world countries or countries that aren't as I don't want to say well off in comparison to America, but for a lot of non-American women, the American middle class is their dream, right? The American, four-bedroom house, white picket fence, that's the dream, right? Not worrying about where food's going to come from, that's what they want. To be, nice and tucked away in the, a nice middle-class suburb. But for a lot of American women, that's not the case. That's not enough, right? They want the show, they want the upscale penthouse, with the E-Class Benz and all these other over-materialistic items. Don't get me wrong, we are all materialistic to a certain degree, but, it seems like the American woman wants that more. They want that superstar type lifestyle, right? They'll settle for something middle class, but they're never happy. They want more. We can trace, in my opinion, we can look how, we can trace women's beliefs and correlate that to America's financial crisis, right? You have all these people with foreclosed homes. Why? Simply because these men, had wives who, wanted to remodel, wanted wanted the bigger house with a nicer car. So there's all these debt that the American is piling up simply because we're not content with living a middle class lifestyle, right? Where we have everything we need and we're not struggling. But for a lot of non-American women, that's the ideal, right? There's nothing better than how a middle class family lives in America, right? You don't have too much, but you're not struggling. And they're coming from countries where there's constant political turmoil, famine, uncontrollable violence. And I'm Nigerian, right? So I know a lot about, third world countries. And I have, family members and friends from other, countries from around the world. And the conditions are almost the same. So if you take a woman out of that environment and you bring her here and she's not worrying about the police or the military, coming through and taking whatever they want, right? Or a rebel group coming through and, bombing their neighborhood, they're going to be happy, they're going to be content. So in closing, I don't know. I liked your vid. It's definitely an issue that people need to talk about. People want to brush it off as not being important, but for me, this whole topic is just as important as dealing with healthcare, dealing with crime, dealing with education, because it goes back to the whole family structure, and that's the most important thing that I think a person can have, because that's, your strength and your foundation. But people want to dismiss it, and then, wonder why when they get older they're mad and they're depressed. So anyways, hopefully I can get your response on what you feel. So take it easy.